Black Hollow Asylum. A name whispered in terror. It stands, a monument to suffering, on a windswept moor. The asylum's broken windows, like vacant eyes, stare out at the world. Locals tell tales of chilling laughter echoing from within. I felt a shiver run down my spine as we approached. The asylum seemed to pulse with a dark energy. Our crew, a band of intrepid filmmakers, were here to document the asylum's horrors. We stepped inside, the heavy oak door creaking shut behind us. The air was thick with dust and the stench of decay. The silence was deafening, broken only by the pounding of our hearts. The shadows seemed to dance and writhe, taking on menacing forms. The asylum was alive, and it was watching us. We entered the main common room, once a place of forced cheer. Now, it was a graveyard of broken furniture and shattered lives. The remnants of restraints lay scattered on the floor, a chilling reminder of the asylum's brutal past. As we set up our equipment, we heard a soft whisper. It seemed to come from the shadows in the corner of the room. We spun around, hearts racing, but found nothing. A cold draft sent a chill down my spine. We pressed on, determined to uncover the asylum's secrets. Our footsteps echoed through the empty corridors, each one raising goosebumps on my arms. The asylum was a labyrinth of shadows and whispers. We reached the treatment wing, where unspeakable horrors had been inflicted. The rusted instruments of torture gleamed under our flashlights. We were treading on haunted ground. The deeper we ventured into the asylum, the more intense the energy became. It was as if the building itself was feeding off our fear. We began to experience strange occurrences. Equipment malfunctioned. Shadows flickered at the edge of our vision. Whispers followed us through the halls. We reached a room at the end of a long corridor. It was the isolation ward. The door was slightly ajar, and from within we heard a faint scratching sound. I felt a knot of dread forming in my stomach. We cautiously pushed the door open, our flashlights cutting through the darkness. The room was empty, except for a single rusted bed frame. The scratching continued, coming from beneath the bed. One of our crew members, a burly cameraman named Mark, knelt down to investigate. Mark's scream seemed to awaken something within the asylum. The energy intensified, pressing down on us with an almost physical weight. We were no longer just observers, we were participants in the asylum's madness. The line between reality and nightmare began to blur. We hurried down a narrow staircase, desperate to escape the oppressive atmosphere of the upper floors. The air grew heavy and damp, the stench of mildew overpowering. We had reached the asylum's basement. Even the bravest among us hesitated. The basement was said to be the most haunted part of the asylum. As we stepped onto the cold, damp concrete floor, we felt a sudden drop in temperature. The air grew thick with the feeling of dread. The darkness seemed to pulsate around us, alive with unseen eyes. The asylum was a labyrinth of despair, each room revealing another layer of its horrific past. We continued our exploration, driven by a morbid curiosity and a growing sense of unease. The deeper we went, the more we felt like we were being watched, hunted. We found ourselves in the asylum's old operating theater. The room was in ruins, but the operating table remained, stained with what looked like blood. Surgical instruments lay scattered on the floor, still sharp after all these years. The air hung heavy with the stench of decay and something else. Something metallic. Suddenly, the doors to the operating theater slammed shut with a deafening bang. We were trapped. Panic surged through the group. We rattled the doors, but they wouldn't budge. We were locked in with the ghosts of Black Hollow Asylum. The growl grew louder, closer. We huddled together, our flashlights trembling in our hands. The darkness seemed to press in on us, suffocating us with its malevolence. We were at the mercy of whatever lurked in the shadows. Then, as quickly as it began, the growling stopped. The silence was deafening. We held our breath, listening for any sign of movement. Minutes stretched into an eternity. The air crackled with tension. Finally, we heard the sound of the lock disengaging. The door creaked open slowly, revealing nothing. We cautiously made our way out of the operating theater, our hearts still pounding in our chests. We had escaped the asylum's clutches, but we knew that it had marked us.